What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the Hero Report. Welcome back to a brand new video. This time previewing the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Miami Heat game, which is tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Very important game, a rematch of the Eastern Conference semis between these two teams. And I'm here to tell you guys the injury reports, potential starting lineups for both teams, and how do we beat the Bucks. So let's get right into it. Before we even start off, man, I really want to shout you guys out. You guys have absolutely killed it over, I think, especially yesterday. The video about the player we just signed yesterday has been popping off. You guys have absolutely killed it. You know, we're over 450 subs. We're like about, I think, 468 or something. That's when I'm recording this video. You guys have killed it, man. You guys are absolutely the goats. So keep doing what you guys are doing. If you guys are new to the channel, man, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And if you guys are regular listeners, make sure you guys smash that like button and hit those comments below. But yeah, just wanted to shout you guys out because you guys have absolutely been killing it. So the Milwaukee Bucks are a team that is currently at the number 3 spot in the Eastern Conference. They obviously are a very familiar team to the Heat. They're a team that last year we kind of had their number, and you know, I guess they're going to want to prove a point. Because they did earlier in the season. They beat us by 47. They kind of just annihilated us in Miami, and then the second game we came back and beat them. Both games were without Jimmy Butler, though. That's a big thing. Both games we played against Milwaukee earlier in the season were without Jimmy Butler. So it's going to be interesting to see how we do with a fully healthy roster. Both teams should have fully healthy rosters. When I'm looking at the injury report, the only player that is questionable for Kendrick Nunn is the only player that's questionable is Kendrick Nunn. My bad. He's questionable with the calf issue. I think he'll play, but I'm not too sure. You know, he tweaked his left calf in the game against Philly, and he's been listed as questionable. But if he doesn't, expect Goran to start, and probably either Gabe Vincent or Max Strus to be one of the guards off the bench along with Tyler. So yeah, Kendrick is questionable. For the Bucks, their roster is basically fully healthy. The only player that's injured is Axel Toupane, and he's not even, you know, a rotational player for the Bucks. He hasn't played for them since April. So yeah, and shout out to my guy in the comments for my I think 2 videos ago when I was talking about the first round matchups for the Heat. I do not want to butcher your name, my guy, but you know who you are. He was the one who actually said that if the Bucks want to avoid us, they might rest some players, and tank this game or something like that, so that we can stay at that 4-5 spot, and they could potentially play a team like the Knicks in the first round. That was a very good point. That's a very good point that I did not even think of. So shout out to you. If the Bucks want to avoid the Heat, then they could rest players, but the other avenue that they could take is they could try to beat us so they could move up to 2, because the Brooklyn Nets are only 1 game ahead of them. And the Bucks, I believe, have the tiebreaker over the Nets, if I'm not mistaken. I can look it up right now, but I do think the Bucks beat them twice recently. And I remember the Nets won the first game after the Harden trade, but I'm not sure if they played a 4th game. If they haven't, then the Bucks and Nets game, the Bucks have a tiebreaker for sure. But even so, like, if they move up to 2, they will not have to play us until the second round. And yeah, I'm seeing it right now, the Bucks have a tiebreaker advantage over the Nets. So if the Nets drop a couple games, which it's unlikely to, but it's still a possibility, they play against the Bulls and the Cavs, I would fully expect the Nets to win those games, but you never know. The Bucks could probably be thinking, you know, hey, let's try to just win out and potentially move up to the 2 seed, because, you know, it's just better for us. Or they could do what my guy in the comments said. He said they could just rest players in order to give us the game, essentially, so that they wouldn't have to play us in the first round. Either possibility is a very likely chance to happen, but we're gonna have to wait and see. You know, at the time that I'm recording this video, which is 9:30 in the morning, there hasn't been really any injury or anything on the Bucks resting players, so maybe it'll come out later today. Apart from all that, you know, the injury report, the starting lineup for the Bucks will most likely be Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo at the 2, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. Very similar starting lineup to what it was last year, except I think their backcourt is different. If I'm not mistaken, last year they had Bledsoe, and I forgot who their shooting guard was. It might have been DiVincenzo. Or it was I think it was Wesley Matthews. Yeah, it was Wesley Matthews, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, their lineup is very similar to what it was last year. I think their major changes were Drew Holiday that they added in the offseason. But do not sleep on their bench, because Bryn Forbes, PJ Tucker, and Bobby Portis are 3 new additions that they added. Bobby Portis is a very solid NBA player. He's a guy that I really, really like. He's a guy that can stretch the floor and protect the rim. So yeah, Bobby Portis on is gonna be a very fun matchup, him and Dwayne Dedmon, because Dwayne Dedmon has been playing really well. Bryn Forbes is more of a catch and shoot guy, but he can get hot from 3 if you leave him open. So we're gonna have to lock in on the 3-point line. PJ Tucker is gonna be that defensive guy. So if Goran starts, expect PJ Tucker to be on Tyler Hero off the bench. That might be a tough matchup, because PJ Tucker is a very, very good defender. He was a guy that we were actually looking at trying to get before we got Ariza. So PJ Tucker is an amazing player. So yeah, those are the players that I'd look out for, especially off the bench. In the starting lineup, you guys know the drill. You know, Giannis is Giannis. We're gonna have to build that wall. Do what we have to do to stop him. The Bucks will play that drop coverage, so we're gonna be getting some threes. We got to beat them by the 3-point line. If I haven't watched as many Bucks games that I did last year, but I have watched some, and I know that they still play that drop coverage, and they will give up some open threes, and we're gonna have to take them. Goran Dragic might have a field day with those, you know, if a defender goes under the screen, and same with Tyler, you know, just pull up threes. We're gonna have to capitalize. Coach Budenholzer is not the best coach come playoff time, but in the regular season, you know, he's very good. It's just a matter of, you know, can he beat the Heat? You know, we had his number last year, and this year it's 1-1. We're gonna have to, you know, we're gonna have to win this game, especially if we're talking about seeding. We want to be in that 4-5 mix. We do not want to fall to 6 and potentially play the Bucks or the Nets in the first round. I would much rather play a team like the Hawks or the Knicks rather than the Bucks or the Nets, but maybe it's just me. And if you move up to 4 somehow, home court advantage as well. So yeah, it's a big game for us. You know, like I said, the Bucks will give up open threes. Giannis, like I said, gonna have to be contained. Drew Holiday, I'm very interested to see Drew Holiday, because he is a guy that was a new addition for their team. He did not play in that playoff series that we beat them 4-1, and I want to see how big he actually impacts their team. He's been a really good player for them, actually. Defensively, he's been an amazing player. You know, he should make all defensive team, but he probably won't because he's not on the ladder, but I do think he should. Yeah, Drew Holiday, we have to see what Drew Holiday turns them into, because I've seen a lot of fans saying Drew Holiday is going to make the Bucks, you know, from pretenders to contenders. And I'm not sure I'm willing to go that far, because Drew Holiday is an amazing player. But the one thing about the Bucks, I think their main weakness is not only that do they have Giannis, but when Giannis is not really on anything, like, who is really beating us? You know, Chris Middleton is cool. I know Chris Middleton had that big game against us in the bubble where he had like 36 in the win in game 4. But Chris Middleton is not a guy who's going to be consistently the guy. Chris Middleton is not Kyrie. Chris Middleton is not Chris Paul. He's not any of those players. He's a featured guy. He's a second option. You know, he's not an alpha that can take over when need be, especially like down the stretch. I know they give the ball to him, but there's a lot of guys in the NBA that I would rather have on my team when we need a bucket than Chris Middleton. And that's not saying Chris Middleton's not a good player. He is. He's just on that. He's just a little tier below all these guys, like these Kyries, the Jimmy Butlers, the Damian Lillards. All these dudes are killers down the stretch. These guys you're gonna give the ball to and get out the way. Chris Middleton is not really that for me. But we're gonna have to see what happens, because if we do contain Giannis, which I think the plan will be, I think we'll have a great chance to win this game. They did lose some shooting. Kyle Korver's not on their team anymore. Wesley Matthews is not on their team anymore, but they did add guys like Bryn Forbes, like I said. Pat Connaughton can shoot the ball, and Dante DiVincenzo. Those 3 are probably their main shooters. They have, you know, Drew Holiday can shoot, but he's not, you know, a shooter. Pat Same with Chris Middleton. He, if he gets hot, then yeah, sure, but he's not, he's not a catch and shoot player. He's gonna try to create for himself. Yeah, Andre Iguodala is gonna be big as well off the bench, especially stopping, him, Trevor Ariza, Jimmy Butler, and Bam are going to have to contain Giannis as well as they can, because we saw it in the bubble. I think Spo is probably going to start Trevor on Giannis. I know Bam is, considered the Giannis stopper, which I think he's very good at defending Giannis. But Trevor Ariza is, I think, is going to get the assignment, because I remember last year in the bubble, if you guys remember, Jay Crowder was the one who got the assignment on Giannis from the start. I don't think it was Bam. I think Bam was more of a guy who was used to come and help. I think Bam was a guy that they used in transition, to stop Giannis with when he's driving in transition. But I think when it's like a half court set, the Heat primarily, especially in the beginning, put Jay Crowder on him. And if the Bucks try to get a switch of Jimmy or Bam, then it was Jimmy and Bam. So I think Trevor will get the assignment off the start, but I wouldn't be surprised if, Spo switched it and if it was Bam instead. I think Trevor might get the assignment because Brook Lopez is a big guy down there, and Spo might want Bam to be on him instead of Trevor Ariza. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, who guards who. Chris Middleton and Jimmy will be on each other. I'm glad they don't have Wesley Matthews on their team anymore, because Wesley Matthews actually gave Jimmy. He was the guy who I think defended Jimmy the best out of everyone I've seen so far. And it's probably because they both played at Marquette together. He knows his game. But yeah, Wesley Matthews was a big piece for them that they lost. So yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting, man. I like the Bucks team more than I did last year, but I do think we can win this game, especially if we contain Giannis. We're probably not gonna stop him. He has improved that jumper. We cannot do what the Nets did, where we just back off and just dare. Like we can dare him to shoot, maybe like a late closeout, like what the Nets did with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. They did not even close out. They were just sitting at the paint, letting Giannis shoot. Those are practice shots. So I know it's Giannis, but you still have to get a hand up, whether it's at the end or whether it's kind of like a late closeout, or whether it's kind of like you're stunting at him or you're daring him to shoot. And do not just sit in the paint. I don't think we're gonna do that, but we shouldn't, because if he gets confidence in that jumper, he's gonna kill us, because once he hits a couple, he's gonna keep shooting those things. And I know in the playoffs, and I don't trust the jumper in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he can knock those down. In the playoffs, I'm not sure, because the pressure is on, and I don't trust his mechanics, when the pressure is, truly on in a 7-game series. But in the regular season, there's no pressure for him to hit those shots. So if he gets hot, he can stroke them. But that's probably going to be it for me. I covered, the Bucks' weaknesses. I covered, that we have to stop Giannis, who I think is going to get the primary assignment. The dangerous players off their bench, like Bryn Forbes and Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker, guys like that can hurt us. I think that's probably going to be it for me. Stay tuned for the injury report, man. Keep yourselves updated, because I'm not sure if the Bucks are going to rest players, and I'm not sure if Kendrick Nunn is going to be out yet, because at the time that I'm recording this video, nothing has really came out about that. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. It's going to be there. Just be on the lookout. And shout out to you guys as always for smashing those like buttons, hitting those subscribe buttons, and commenting down below like you guys always do. I'll see you guys later as always, man. Peace.